Thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I am your host, Mr. Julian.
Are you going to let him do the music
I don't
intro?
know. We were starting.
And yes, I am. And we're going to have a musical intro this evening from a local musician and genius, player of a dozen instruments, maybe even low. Matthew O'Donnell. Yes.
Matthew O'Donnell. Yeah. Well, this is just a little taste of something before we get a little taste of something. Because unless I'm not mistaken, everything we're looking at today is Irish.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, most appropriate. I am a native-born Irishman. I'll never deny what I am. I was born sweet Tipperary, boys, 3,000 miles away. Then hooray, boys, hooray. No more do I wish for the road, the sun that will shine in the harvest time, to welcome poor Paddy home. The sun that will shine in the harvest time, to welcome poor Paddy home.
Oh, that's
Welcome
beautiful.
to Fun with Pete and Sherry.
And loyal viewers will recognize Hope from many of my recent and best videos, and new and guest of honor Matthew O'Donnell, incredible musician. You'll be seeing him soon enough on the Tonight Show and everywhere great musicians are showing up.
Stupid critical
And we have a very special episode here today because we will be reviewing the best whiskey I've ever tasted, bar none. But we're not going to start
that
with
is
that.
saying something.
And I've had a whiskey or two over the last 6 years or so. That's how long I've been drinking whiskey.
Really?
Yeah, no longer than that. And we're going to start with a new one, a relatively new one, from Kilbeggan. This is a single grain. Kilbeggan, established in 1757. And I was mentioning to you, Matthew, that Kilbeggan is the most rebel of all Irish whiskies.
Yes, you were.
Because the founder of the distillery had two of his sons hanged for their association with United Irishmen. And United Irishmen, of course, were the greatest rebel group in Irish history.
So this is the Kilbeggan.
Yes, and this is a single grain. So this is not malt whiskey. This is the other kind. But grain whiskey can be quite great. It's just not quite as complex. So let's see what we've got here on the nose. It's quite nice on the nose, actually. It's very nutty. We're far away. Little marzipan.
It's got a little fire to it.
You're always one step ahead of us. All right, now I'm going to taste.
But it's very smooth.
Yes, it's smooth. It is smooth. Yeah, for a grain whiskey particularly, it goes down very easy. And I'm essentially getting that same flavor. I'm getting a little of soft fruits, apple, banana maybe, and then a sort of a nutty finish. It's not too complex, but it's not exactly completely one note either. It's simple.
I like it.
And this is a whiskey. This I would describe as a very affordable whiskey. So, yeah, and an absolutely painless whiskey. If you're looking for a whiskey to just go down with nothing thorny, it doesn't have the levels of excitement that I look for as a flavor seeker. But really it is very good sipping whiskey.
Yeah, as Julian said to me the other day, if you want to introduce alcohol into your system in a very painless way, this is a good whiskey to do it.
That was not this whiskey, though.
No, but it works for this whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah. It's such a smooth, pleasant. I love everything about this, but it's the when it settles it stays with you for so long that just the kind of gentle vanilla-y kind of, I think it's the nutty kind of sweetness you're talking about. It just makes me, it just feels like it's just like a little bit of joy going down and sticking with you.
Yeah, that is real nice. And you know, for one I picked up for $30 here in Charlottesville, and that means, you know, some of you in different places, good Lord, in Ireland can get it for a lot less, and so that's a real nice whiskey for. And one thing I talk about this before every time I do one, and it's only like maybe 1 in 10 videos that I'll do Irish. That I'll focus on Irish whiskeys. That's because there just aren't as many of them to focus on here as there are some of the others. But the standard benchmark Irish whiskey unfortunately doesn't really exist because well, everyone knows Jamison, that's rail whiskey. And so when you talk about like a standard sipping whiskey, a lot of different things come to mind, and no one has the real claim. But this is it. This is certainly a good one.
No, I do enjoy this.
I think Teeling certainly made a reasonable stab at it, becoming really well established. Redbreast, of course, is one. The Redbreast line is honestly maybe one of my most frequent around the house, everyday whiskeys. Not that I'm saying you should drink whiskey every day.
Yes.
Why not?
But since you're going to anyway, Redbreast is going. And we're not doing a Redbreast tonight. Maybe because I think I need a whole episode or more to do the Redbreast series justice. We're going different.
Whenever night you're doing that, I'm available.
Excellent.
Right.
Most people just find the 12, but then it's beyond that things get really interesting.
Oh yeah.
The 12 cask strength, which is so good, and the 15, which is so good, and beyond that, which are so good. And honestly, my number one soft whiskey right now is the new-ish 30-year-old.
Ooh.
It's called Dream Cask, and it is so hard to you got to enter these lotteries, and
You got lotteries? My goodness.
Whiskey lotteries.
Yeah,
I have so much to learn.
The only kind of lottery you should ever enter.
Yeah, and you will, and you will not acquire one for less than $1,000.
Really?
I mean, that's these are
Really?
really well
Christ.
sought.
All right, so what are we doing next, Julian?
Well, Kilbeggan, you should give it a review, give it a rating. I always give them a rating, and as I say, guests are welcome to give them a rating, but aren't required to. You aren't really required to do anything, frankly. That's not really the way I roll. But I'm giving it a 7.8 because it's a little better than what I consider like neutral. I would rather drink this than say a 12-year-old Glenlivet, actually. Maybe it's because I'm sick of the taste of Glenlivet after all
I think
these
I'll
years.
give it
But
a solid 8.
Nice.
Because the complexity and flavor is not as important to me as it is to you, but I do like the smoothness, and I like the amount. I like it has a perfect amount of fire to it, where you can really, you can really feel it, but it doesn't burn going all the way down after that. So I really like that combination.
Yes, I'm not sure if they say. I think this is no age statement. Yeah. So, but I would assume this is aged for no more than 6, maybe 8 years at the most.
Yeah. I would go with an 8 as well.
Nice.
That is, for what I look for in a whiskey, that's the flavor is just spot on. Probably because generally when I think of whiskey, I think of Irish whiskey. That's where I go for, and it just rounds it out as far as the flavor and the fire that you're talking about. I think it's always very it's pleasant when it's there. I think the sweetness and the gentleness, and then the bite of it. I think the way they contrast, it's really nice. I think if it leaned one way or another, it'd be kind of a whiskey I would just never buy any other kind.
But as far as just the flavor of it, it's just right on. It's just everything it needs to be.
Excellent.
Excellent.
And even from my rating, that makes it one of the higher rated of whiskeys in that price range.
Yeah, I'm amazed
So-
that it was only $30.
Mhm.
All right, so where are we going down?
From now, we'll go to
Teeling.
a new one. I mentioned that Teeling made a good stab at being sort of a quintessential Irish whiskey with their like a benchmark Irish whiskey with their blended whiskey. Now they have a single malt out, and we had another bottle of this. Should I mention the fact that we convened this?
This is our
this
attempt
table
number
once
2.
before, and I made a
But
very
there was
error.
there was an issue with sound.
And so we had a bottle of this before, and we tasted it before, and I hear that bottle was good enough. I finished it in the meantime. Now, as opposed to the third bottle, which we finished that very night,
Yes.
because it was really, really, really good. Okay, but so let's open this and see where we go from there. And I remember your mom described this as tasting like, what's it? Soap and pears. I
Yes,
think.
yes, she did.
Pairs.
She didn't say she didn't like it. She
No.
just,
Yeah.
soap and pear. There you go.
All right, well, if you toss out the final drops of your whiskey.
I'm tossing the other direction.
I'll toss it on you, Julian.
Thanks.
Thank you kindly.
All right, so we go from a single
Thank
grain
you.
to a single malt. Those are opposite sides of the spectrum on which blended whiskeys fall, although it's interesting when people package them as such, single grain or single malt. This usually means they've put a lot of attention into the creation, the aging of that particular whiskey. So it's usually better than what is sold as blended whiskey. I'm sorry to say, because in theory a blended whiskey is absolutely fantastic, right? But they're just but the cheap whiskey is always blended whiskey, and it's just that people, and for that reason, companies don't usually try to create their masterpieces as blended whiskeys.
Yes.
This makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Right, and I don't like to be a snob, except for the fact that I fucking hate rail whiskey. So.
Rail whiskey has its place. Don't hate on rail whiskey.
I mean, it's good if you're mixing your whiskey with something else, but I think.
Or if you're really poor and they give you a $2 shot of whiskey, like, come on, you can't beat that.
Okay, now right away on the nose, this is richer than the other. Frankly, I get almost everything here that I did there, plus a little bit more.
I do smell the soap that my mother was talking about.
More exciting fruits dancing above.
It's just got this freshness. To it.
There's grape and there is citrus. In addition to yes pear, and I think your mom was calling soup is what soap is what I'm calling like a nutty.
Maybe.
But on the other hand, I could see it. Soap, I can buy that. Does have a little.
But it's not an unpleasant soapy flavor.
No.
You know?
Well, I think about most whiskey, people know that an unpleasant description doesn't necessarily mean an unpleasant flavor. Like some of the best whiskeys I describe as having a flavor of decay. There's a forest floor taste that you get in a really good whiskey sometimes. It's actually kind of nice. Like it's like old leaves and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Now that's so smooth, and I almost didn't feel it.
No, that is amazing.
That is, yeah. People are shocked when I use this expression. Smooth as spit.
Smoother. I like it. I could sip this.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to figure out how to describe it.
It's a little spicy. It's a little spicier than I want it to be.
It is a little spicy, but nothing like
Your eyes are
cloying.
very big. What are you thinking?
I'm just taking everything in. I'm experiencing it in a sensory way. I'm pondering. A good whiskey deserves a good ponder.
I do taste the fruity lightness, the citrus,
Yeah, it's the fruitiness. It doesn't. I'm not saying it tastes like it, but almost the way the complexity of it almost. There's something about it that just brings to mind a similarity to drinking like a really, really fine gin or something. There's just so much
going on.
It does feel almost flavor infused.
Yes.
And I'm getting like in this is a master of soft fruits here. Almost a full range here with like banana and apple, and in addition to that, almost like the full Tropicana fruit cup too.
Mm-hmm.
Peach and maybe a one slice or two, depending on your luck, of maraschino cherry.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, no, this would be sort of like that one. I feel like this would sort of be an easy whiskey not to really notice.
Definitely.
Because if you weren't thinking about whether it's good, it's not. There's nothing in here to really jump out over your head and clobber you with a flavor.
And it's smoother than the last one.
Yes, and now, I think so. I think so.
That's funny. I find the other one to be a fair bit smoother.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, this one's more fiery. It's got more spice to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it goes down a lot smoother. So it's like it's more like it kicks your mouth more, but it doesn't kick your throat as much.
That's the great thing about it. Everyone tastes the same thing, but everyone's whiskey vocabulary is different.
Yes.
And I figured that out too, and then there's certain things that other Scotch reviewers say that there are terms that I still never learned to use. But anyway, you gotta say what you actually feel.
Well,
and that's what I liked about your mother's saying. She was just she's not trying to be an expert on Scotch. She was saying what she tasted, and that's
I taste soap and pear in it.
Yeah.
Julian, you're falling behind.
He's appreciating.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Now, but while I'm drinking this, I'm going to go ahead and review it. I'm going to give this an 8.0. And
yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you and also give it another 8.0. Because I liked it. I liked the lightness of it. The fire was a little too much for me, but the smoothness kind of balanced it out a little. So.
Can I ask an advice on the rating here? Because I'm trying to think. Because
you can also make up your own
I'm
rules.
totally an amateur. I can appreciate.
Oh, I just make it up as I go along.
I can appreciate the great complexity of the drink, but when it comes down to personal enjoyment, if the rate is entirely, not judging how good a whiskey is this, but how much I enjoy it.
Oh, that's how I do it.
Yeah, because I think if I'm, judging it of my knowledge of whiskeys, which is not sizable, but just of knowledge of whiskeys, I can see that this is a very good whiskey. And if I'm rating in that way, I'd probably be up with where you are.
Well,
but as far as personal enjoyment, I'd probably put it maybe a 6.5.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The way I think of it is, I usually give a nod to what I think other people feel in the rating, but it's mostly personal because they can go to see what other people think to find out what other people think.
Yes.
So the reason to come here is to find out what I think.
Yeah.
As much as that sounds egotistical, I should say what I really think about these things. That's the only point of a review.
Yeah. So to be fair, we're not the AKC rating the best pointers. We're seeing who's the best friendly doggy here.
Yes, and while I'll finish this bottle probably much more quickly than many bottles of Scotch I have around here, just because it's because it goes down so smooth and it's a nice flavor. I also wonder.
I want to redo my rating to 7.6.
7.6.
7.6.
Because the spiciness is just it's still in my mouth even though I finished my drink a little while ago, and I just think it's a little much for me. So there we go.
Okay. 7.6. And
7.6, 6.5,
this has won
like
some awards. But I also know it's been long anticipated in Irish whiskey since the folks at Teeling left Cooley, I guess about 10 years ago now, and my guess is this was probably distilled at Cooley. It has actually the same some of the same flavors that you get in Cooley whiskeys. So but again, no age statement. And I am not sure it's exactly what Teeling wanted for their single malt, because it doesn't.
No age statement.
It does not have. It does not have like a hook that's going to grab the casual drinker in as well. Perhaps. I wonder about that. It's very smooth, very nice, but it doesn't have that. I mean. Like Redbreast immediately it's like grainier and greener and more sugary than like any whiskey you've ever had.
Yes,
it's intense.
yes. Yeah.
And so it's almost thick. It's like you chew on it, right? It has something that hooks you right away. But that's a different style to the single pot still, which gives which is a mixture essentially, of malt and grain, but which is all done together in individual pot stills. No, thank you. And so I just don't know if that's really what they wanted or not. But now we are on to what we really came here for.
The big
My God, folks, if you've watched all of my videos, and I can't think of any reason why you would have, unless you were a real big fan of Tipsy the Cat. But there were tipsy fanatics out there. You will know that I've mentioned a few times the very best whiskey they ever had. I first tasted it in 2013. 2012. 2012 at Whiskey Fest in New York, and it was the best thing I'd ever had. It was 6 years. Before I could get another taste of it, even before I could acquire another bottle. And it was not until there were enough highly specialized whiskey groups on Facebook that I could start contacting individual collectors in Ireland to ask how much they would sell me the ones that they were saved, because no one sells this anymore. It is discontinued. It was only made in 2007. And without further ado, this year.
Not bad for a company mainly stocking in rail whiskey, as you say.
Well, I mean, it's not so much the thing mainly. I mean, this is Irish Distillers now owns half the world.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of everything, but I think they own Redbreast too. But this, are you gonna open that? Oh my!
Oh my goodness! Hope
I
is
am
taking
doing it.
charge.
So anyway, I started buying these, and in truth, I've been stockpiling them a bit now. Stockpiling them for Tiatuaki because if the rest of the world goes to hell, and I still have my 6 bottles of Jamison Rarest Vintage Reserve, I'll be happy.
Yeah. The second the klaxons go off, I'm driving to your house.
We're just gonna go through
We're
all
gonna go
those
down
bottles.
with the ship. Yeah.
And I cannot believe.
We'll drunkenly play as many Irish songs as we can find.
That's what I do every night anyway.
I've actually opening that was a $500 expense, by the way, and that's if you're lucky. And like I said, given its rarity and its difficulty to acquire, its discontinuedness, I can assume, and the fact that I know it's good, I think the price is going to probably go up. I think I'll probably sell them for in 10 to 15 years for $2,000 or $3,000. Anyway, but So I should say how this is made. Jamison apparently got some malt whiskey they'd had aged for quite a long time, for different years, but fully in port pipes. And port pipes, as you may know, can do amazing things to whiskey. They don't always, but the best ones really like throw something in there. It can be even more dramatic than sherry casks. And so what they had was so intense that they also they blended it out about 50-50 with a relatively young grain whiskey, but one that was very smooth and that had a nice taste to it. They thought would do a good job to lengthen it. And as a result of that, this was somewhat controversial when it was released, because they're thinking, oh, you're watering it down. And while I would love indeed to try what the stuff was before they mixed it, cannot deny that the result was effective. But every bottle is new, guys. Flip. All right. So we'll see. Maybe this bottle is not the equal one. The last one we had couldn't have been better, so we will see.
Thank you, Maestro.
Oh, it's got such a smooth smell. You can smell the...
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
It almost smells like amaretto or something. It's so sweet, but...
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, and that's the port pipe. Ooh, amaretto is a good way to describe it. The smell, actually, I definitely get that. And also just
Maybe hints of vanilla.
Yes, definitely.
But it's not hard to smell things in this, like.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No,
You can get lost in it.
Lemon drops. All right. Final test.
I can't look.
Oh, and it hits you about 2 seconds after you swallow.
Mm-hmm.
The burst of flavor comes. You're thinking, that's all right. And then you're like, oh, wow. Wow.
It's so
amazing.
I can't describe how smooth it is. It's almost like it's like drinking water. It just goes, it just slips down your throat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, another just.
And you're right. About 2 seconds after, about a second and a half after you swallow, it comes up and like.
First, I'm thinking the way I initially described it is like there's you're tasting a little of grain and brown sugar and typical Irish whiskey stuff, and you're thinking that's remarkably smooth. And it's kind of when you're about to go to take a breath that it's like this surge of apricot just like races up your throat and into your sinuses, and you're like, wow. It's the fruitiest thing it's the fruitiest whiskey I've ever tasted. It's just amazing.
I have to express my feelings through song, because I've sung a particular song, hundreds of times in Irish pubs, and the lines always struck me as peculiar, this particular verse. As I came in my Glasgow city, Nancy whiskey I chanced to smell. I came and sat down beside her, 7 long years I love her well. And it strikes me the moment of me passing by. Oh yes, we can do the chorus. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, whiskey, 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 Nancy, oh. So what strikes me about that is the moment of I walked in by Glasgow City, Nancy whiskey I chanced to smell. I've smelled whiskey on a few occasions before, but never has it turned my head in such a strong way as the smell of this whiskey could. I feel like I understand that song in a new way, drinking this whiskey.
Yeah, and it's remarkable, especially given the criticism of being watered down. One of the things that makes this whiskey stand apart is just its fucking intensity.
Yeah.
When that wave of flavor hits you, it is overwhelming. It is really strong.
It is.
Wow.
It is definitely, yes.
So I gotta say, Jamison, Irish distillers, what the fuck are you doing? If you can make me something like this, why aren't you making it?
But wouldn't it take them an extraordinarily long time to produce more of
There was a rumor that someone put some of a lost barrel that may have been aged for 80 years into the mix, and that would kind of explain, I guess, what is unexplainable about this whiskey. What about it where you just this there's just something that's super I don't know, ephemeral and delicate at the same time as being intense. Anyway, I'm not sure I've ever also had a whiskey that had this sort of depth charge flavor effect where it was this delayed onset like that.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. This whiskey is a fucking experience. It really is.
Yeah.
Are you ready to rate it?
Well, I've been drinking whiskey for a long time, and the only whiskey I said that I guess that really came close was that Balvenie 30, and that was one of my favorite reviews, but for various reasons. But no, I think this is even better than that. And who knows if I ever get a chance to taste in my life one of those 1964 Macallans that goes for $50,000. I don't even know. I don't know if they taste that because they're good or just because they're that's what other people pay for them, right? And I probably never will. But I know this is really good. I give it a 9.8.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to give it a 9.8.
Yeah. I will say that I would imagine the epitome of a 10 rated whiskey would be if you offered me to forsake my entire life, everything I know and everyone I love, and be marooned on a desert island with just enough, basic food and water to sustain me, and 1,000 bottles of a particular whiskey, and I would choose the 1,000 bottles of the whiskey on the desert island. That would be a 10 whiskey.
That only gives you 300 days of life.
I mean, yeah, I know. That's true.
Just kidding, kids. No more than one bottle of whiskey a day.
Yes. Safety first. So this, I would not ultimately forsake everything I've ever known for the desert island with an endless supply of this whiskey, but I'd take a while to think about it. That's a 9. That's a 9.9 if I've ever tasted it. Yeah.
That's it. Are we done?
Well,
I don't know. I'm going to leave the camera rolling because
sometimes we get good footage.
I have more of this, and that seems like reason enough to keep going.
yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us with this Fun with Pete and Sherry. We hope you have a lovely evening or day or whatever time you are listening to this. And thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, and so yeah. But this is what freaks me out. It's like I invited at least 3 people to be here tonight. The all-stars, everyone who's ever been in a Fun with Pete and Sherry video. And you can't explain to someone what they don't understand, and you can't.
You can't tell a blind person what colors are.
Exactly.
Well, there's no more room at the table.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. You can't really put 3 people. Well, I mean, I could back that up a little bit more. That camera. Have we got the sound on here?
Oh my god, if you don't have the sound on, I will fucking kill you.
Don't shut up. He'll
It's
open another bottle.
Testing.
Who do you think sabotaged it last time?
Man, I can tell you, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything in that video from last time, but it sure as hell looks like we were having a good time.
Good gravy.
Yes, you know me singing along to all those Irish songs probably doesn't need to be on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. But you should sing along to one last one.
Oh yeah, okay.
That we actually capture.
All right.
Let's give it a final go. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, whiskey, 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 Nancy, oh. Ah, come all ye weavers, Colton weavers, come all ye weavers, where'er ye be, beware of whiskey, Nancy, whiskey. She'll ruin you like she ruined me. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, whiskey, 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 Nancy, oh. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, whiskey, 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 Nancy, oh.
Aaron Gebra.
Slanja.